with us living in such a digital world, a lot of times I feel like we are more vulnerable than we've ever been. No matter how much we prep, no matter how much we try to take care of our families, how safe are we when everything that we own, for the majority of Americans, majority of the world, is on either phones or some kind of digital device? I think of our bank accounts. I think of everything that we do. It's all tied to some kind of virtual network, some kind of digital platform. Now, is that necessarily bad? No, technology can be good. It can be used for good things. I think of talking on YouTube each and every day. I love it. I love sharing my life with you, and I couldn't do it without technology. However, there's some stories that we need to talk about. Today we're going to talk about a data breach that Elon just talked about, gave a chilling warning about. Also, we're going to talk about what happened to a major phone provider. Major breach. We're in a time where drone warfare or cyber warfare or a different version of warfare could be upon us. And it's not what you think. It may not take boots on the ground. It may not take artillery. It may take ones and zeros. And when you think about that, how safe are we? Are we vulnerable? Is it a threat to us? Well, it can be. Today, let's jump into these things. Something that Elon just talked about, and not only that, something dealing with a major phone carrier. Let's dive into these stories today because we want to make sure as we prepare, we think we need to prepare for the technology part of this too. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to The Max. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new to the channel, go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell. Give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, that's okay, but let us know what you think about the content of today's video. Now, you can see, you don't see any cows, you don't hear any animals. We're inside. It's still raining a little bit here in South Mississippi. Hey, it's good to have the rain that we have, but you know what? It does put us inside, and even though I enjoy kind of him inside because I don't hear all the craziness going on around me, I do miss seeing the animals in the background or the beautiful kitchen garden in the background. So excuse the view today. You're not seeing the outdoors, but it's too rainy, and I don't think you as a camera can handle it. So let's dive into these stories today. Again, remember, when we talk about these things, our goal is to prepare you more. Now, we talk physically, we talk mentally, we talk making sure you're emotionally ready for these things, but sometimes we don't talk about technology. It's very important, and it's a great part of our life. However, when we put our trust and our comfortableness into something, convenience sometimes could come back and bite us. Well, today we're going to talk about just that. Now, first, let's talk about a story dealing with a major phone breach. And then we're going to roll into something that Elon Musk just shared. And if he talked about it, and he, again, is someone who understands technology probably than the rest of us, especially owning a social media hub. But not only that, but just the technology that he's around dealing with Starlink. We'll dive in a little bit deeper. First, let's talk about T-Mobile. T-Mobile's network hacked by Chinese state-sponsored intelligence. Among the multiple stories over the last few weeks about Chinese intelligence and hackers either attempting to or outright gaining access to U.S. cell phone carriers and networks, there's a major news flash saying that T-Mobile was just hacked. It says T-Mobile's network was reportedly breached in a Chinese cyber espionage campaign targeting multiple U.S. and international telecommunications systems. Hackers tied to the Chinese intelligence agency accessed the network to spy on high-value intelligence targets. Though the timing of the attack was not disclosed, they did see a significant breach. So I think about all the cell phone carriers that we're tied to. Now, if you're not T-Mobile, it doesn't mean you're less vulnerable. Remember, we're all using the same network. And remember, even though we think these things are safe, even though we think that our data is safe, even though we think everything that we put on this is just ours for our own liking and no one else can get it. If someone knows how to program that, then a hacker knows how to get into that program. Don't believe that these hackers are just some kindergarten level people. This is how the new world will face warfare, cyber attacks. And think of, we're talking about cell phones getting information. But what if all of a sudden there's blackmail involved? What if all of a sudden there's something heavier or bigger, or something like nuclear threats tied to it, or blackouts with our grid tied to it, or our utilities tied to it? If you remember a few years back, the Colonial Pipeline was hit in the south part of the United States, southeast. It actually affected us, but it was because of a cyber attack hacker. Also, there was a situation where the grid was hit in certain areas. Canada faced that just a few weeks ago. There's been times where we have to worry about these things because it's actually a national security threat. Well, your data is just the same way. Russia and China are becoming extremely strong, and they're putting a lot of resources into understanding how to get our data. That's a big deal. It says that T-Mobile is closely monitoring the industrial-wide attack. And they said they're working so hard to make sure that there's no impacts to the customers. The FBI and CISA recently revealed that the China-linked hackers intercepted surveillance data meant for the U.S. law enforcement after breaching those firms. Now think about this. You just heard in the news that there was a random hacker that got into Matt Gaetz' information, and the reports were leaked, and the hacker found out about it. And now you're talking about someone who is up for an appointment from the president of our United States now has a chance of being hacked. So how vulnerable is that information? Now, you think about apps, you think about emails, you think about social media, all those things. When you get something for free and you download something for free, how actually safe is it? Because really what they're actually doing is they're actually getting your information, your data. Now, before we go any further talking about before we go any further talking about some of these stories dealing with the vulnerabilities of data, and also dealing with the fact of what Elon Musk just said, let's hear a word from our sponsor. Today's sponsor is Aura. Just as we're talking, Aura is a platform, and it's just as simple as downloading an app that can help you with a virtual private network. Also can help you stay away from the data brokers and the people that are trying to get your information. One thing I've learned about being more on technology and using more of our digital spaces, yes, the convenience is there, but the scary thing is, as those conveniences are there, what about the vulnerabilities? Just like what we're talking about in this video. So what Aura does is they come in and they help block your information. They put you on a VPN, a virtual private network. They also make sure that you are not getting shared with bad, corrupt data brokers. What about financial fraud? Think about how much our banking is done online. How many apps do you have right now on your phone that is tied to your banking or your financial institutions or your money of some sort? You have digital wallets. Well, how easy would it be for someone who built that platform to then turn around and have the same people that are doing the bad things to try to take the money off that platform? It happens day in and day out. Not only do they have 24/7 customer support, it's based out of the USA. So if you have a problem or you feel like something's wrong or you feel vulnerable, you can check with them and they can help you. By using Aura, the same amount of protection that US banks and military has, Aura would use for you. That gives you the peace of mind. Think about when you protect your home. If you didn't lock your doors and locked your windows, how safe would you be? Because your door is still wide open. Same way, if you lock your doors and not your windows, how safe would it be? What Aura comes in and does is says, look, I see there are vulnerabilities there in your passwords. There's vulnerabilities right there in your network. There's vulnerabilities right there with this app. We're going to come in and we're going to help you. I don't want myself or my family held captive or vulnerable because of the data that could be online and that is not safe, that we have put it out there and no one's blocking it or taking care of it. Aura is giving my listeners a 2-week free trial. Check out the link below, and that way you can make sure that your data is protected and that you feel safe. Do not be exposed. Your data is important. It's yours, no one else's. Check out aura.com/themax. Get your free trial today. Thank you, Aura, for sponsoring today's video. Now, before we get to what Elon was talking about with a major data breach, listen to these 2 other stories from Zero Hedge today. China fumes as U.S. and Philippines sign new intelligence deal that helps share information in defense deals. Well, we just talked about a data leak and a data breach dealing with China going to T-Mobile. Well, if we're causing more problems in their area, making these special deals and sharing secrets with Japan or with anyone else in that region, you believe China is going to be happy about that? No, they're coming out saying, we don't want you getting our information over here. At the same time, you may be vulnerable because we may be trying to get your information. So that's a big story that You know, they see the fact that we're sharing information and they don't like it. How much more are they going to target Americans? And this kind of leads me to the next story. Elon Musk gave a warning, and he shared this on Twitter, and he said, you know, this is very concerning. There was a new story that came out that said Duke University found that the data brokers sell information of military personnel for as little as 12 cents to unknown buyers. Now, these unknown buyers are not probably best friends and people that wants to sell you goods. It could be someone as simple as spam emails, but it also could be bad players. And so you see government workers, military personnel, people that are tied to our government. Duke exposed this and said, you know what? Your own government is selling some of your information for as little as 12 cents. 12 cents to data brokers. And they're probably not data brokers that's looking out for your best interest. The federal government pays millions to the same data brokers listed in the Duke University report who profits off the sale of American military families. It says, adding to the insult, 2021 executive order mandates the Veteran Affairs specifically must use the government-powered solutions for logins that they are using. The one that Duke is saying is vulnerable. So it's kind of like free apps. It's kind of like all this information. If we just turn around and get these apps, it's not that they're free, even though we're not paying much for them, or we're getting the free apps downloaded, just like this situation where they're using the login information that the government is giving them. They're not charging you for using those apps and those servers because you are ultimately the prize. You are the marketability sale. So your information is getting placed on there, and then when you put your email in, your passwords in, your address, all this sensitive information, Duke University said that even the military side could be selling it to data brokers. Could be good players, could be bad players, could be spam, could be anybody you don't know. Could be hackers, sometimes for just 12 cents. So they're getting a list of your information for less than $1. The story that Duke was putting out says the Government Accountability Office accused the government's login system for misleading customers, along with its capabilities in compliance with federal standards. I always think about, you know, we put our information in on any social media platform or on some kind of buying app. You know, you've heard Temu having problems, Alibaba having problems, TikTok having problems. What it is when you give this information to these people, you know, you go through the agreements and the contracts and you just push trust, and it gets your location and it gets everything about you, and you don't even know. How many times have you read those agreements? Well, nobody has. Well, what happened is Duke shared this story, and a few people shared it, but then Elon Musk got a hold of it and said, this is concerning. So when I think about that, not that I trust Elon Musk with everything. He's also given us a freedom platform. He's also giving us Starlink, which allows us not to have to run on cables. And also Starlink is known to be more secure than a lot of other servers. Not only that, like EMPs, he's also came out and said that his Starlink satellites can handle even something like an EMP, unlike most other internets. So what I think he's doing is he's bringing attention to the fact of how dangerous it is to live our lives online. The convenience, phenomenal. The technology, phenomenal. The fact that we want an ease of life, phenomenal. But remember, with those eases, there comes risk. And so when we think about the safety, we want to make sure that we're doing all that we can. So a few things. Make sure that you don't put the most personal information online. If it is, you better make sure it's a trusted source. You better make sure that your financial institution is safe. You better make sure the apps that you're getting is not tracking you all the time and getting all your valuable information. Make sure that you bring awareness to yourself to say, you know what, I need to not put my head in the sand and know that this could be a risk. You need to check out like Aura. Check out someone who's willing to protect you for pennies a day to make sure that your data is safe. Because if you don't have this kind of protection, guess what? What if all of a sudden something hits you bad? If you remember a few months ago, we got hit really bad on our Facebook account. And we don't have Facebook anymore with the Macs. And don't get me wrong, I enjoyed being able to see certain things on there or share our pictures with it on Instagram. But what I realized is my information wasn't as safe as I thought it was. So what I learned from that, I became proactive. Not only did I download Aura, but I also started saying, you know what, if this app doesn't have the protection that I thought that it would, and that if I feel vulnerable on it, I'm going to get rid of it. Also, the fact that I'm not going to have all these banking apps on my phone and have one password for all of it. you know you're bad about that, just like I am. So the whole point of this video is to say, yes, enjoy technology. I'm glad you're watching me right now. But if you're not careful, you can be just as vulnerable as leaving all your windows and doors open in the middle of a city that's known for crime. So guys, to end the video, I just want to make sure that you are being careful as possible. This Duke study, this whistleblower situation, the fact that Elon Musk is sharing it, you hear about the data breaches. This is the life we live now. And it's not going to get much better, especially the fact that we live more in a digitized world. Make sure you understand that, yes, we want to enjoy the things that's been blessing from people being wise and building technology. But still, go outside, enjoy the day. Do some things with your children that not tied to some kind of app or some kind of phone or some kind of smart device. Still enjoy those things. And when you're online and when you're doing things, make sure you're being wise and going to reputable sites, using reputable apps, and make sure you have protection from someone like Aura. We hope that you have a phenomenal day. Remember, we have a giveaway coming in at the end of the month. So all it takes is you subscribing and give us a thumbs up, comment below, tell us what you think. And no matter how crazy this world gets, always remember to be thankful for what God's given you, your family. Don't ever take it for granted. Your health, food, everything. Be thankful. Yes, thanks for watching. God bless.